Okay.
Yeah, I was getting done.
Now,
Did you finish yours?
No, now I want you to win.
Oh.
I'm waiting for the question.
what did you think about your very first granddaughter, Cassie?
I'm sorry. I didn't finish it, but I wanted to be done.
Okay.
Well, we were, she was a precious little girl. Our first grandchild,
Mm-hmm.
you know.
Mm-hmm.
And we were surprised that she came in such a hurry.
Mm-hmm.
I know that I drove, I'm sure 90 miles an hour to get her to the hospital.
Oh my.
Harlan was in the back seat, so I asked him if he knew what to do
Oh my goodness sakes.
if she had the baby in the
Just
car.
in case.
And he said, sure, he knew what to do. So we decided afterwards that he probably learned from a book or something.
Uh-huh. You must have seen a calf be delivered or something.
I don't know if he actually knew, but
Did you not know you were in labor? The
I
lady?
know, I thought it was a June berries.
Oh.
Grandma,
I had a June berries.
she thought she had a stomach ache. She came downstairs and said that she had a stomach ache. And I said, okay, this is it. And she said, no, I'm not going to the hospital. No. So we persuaded her to talk to our doctor, and he said, come on in, I'll promise you I'll keep you, I won't send you back home. And so we took her
I'm
in
waiting for
and
my
then
ice cream, Mom.
dropped her off at the Air Force Hospital and drove off. Harlan and I were going to go and have breakfast. And we took our time because we didn't think anything was going to happen. And when we got back to the hospital, they were wheeling her out. She'd already had the baby.
And
They
then
didn't get a chance to
you
even
found out it was a girl. And
sit with her.
did you guys know what you were going to name her, Mom?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Who's making all that movement back there?
Cassandra Marie.
That's
But we
Ryan.
didn't know that it was going to be a girl.
No, we didn't know in those days.
We didn't know that it was going to be a girl. But then right away I called Grandpa and I said,
Popsicle that's red.
hi, Grandpa.
So he knew.
He was pretty nuts about her too, I bet.
Oh, yes. Every chance he could get, he'd come home and check on her.
And what about Holly?
Hey!
I'm trying to think.
Oh,
Holly was born in January. She was born on her grandpa's birthday.
Mm-hmm.
But I have to stop and think. You were in Grand Forks then, weren't you?
Yeah. Byron took me to the hospital.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Byron took her to the hospital.
He was a wreck.
No.
He was a nervous wreck.
Well, after all, he got in on all these babies, and it was pretty tough on him, He was
Yeah.
with us
You're looking
when
at
Cassie
that
was
film
born,
already?
and now he's having to worry
It's
about
raw.
Holly.
But
And we came down for the baptism? I think so. Yeah, no, the baptism.
Bro. Oh.
So here was another little girl for Grandpa to have in his lap.
And then the next little girl.
Oh, she was happy.
And the next little girl came on the 7th of December. Is that your birthday?
Can't wait to see that on.
And it was 40 below zero, and I came to Grand Forks on the bus so I could be there.
Caused quite a scandal at Towner High School.
He was another little girl.
All done with the ice cream?
Then, 13 years later, 12 years later, another little girl.
Oh, Terry.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah. Oh, that's right. We have lots more little girls coming into our family. that's when Grandpa really got excited then. Because he thought this was going to be a namesake.
Yeah.
You know, he thought this was going to be a boy.
Mm-hmm.
But it wasn't a boy, it was another little girl, Terry.
And she was born in September.
18th of September, she was born. And we had been someplace.
Were you up there in Michigan?
Yeah, they were in Michigan. But we were someplace, I don't know what. Anyway, we hurried up and we had been someplace because we hurried up and went home and unpacked our suitcase, repacked it, and went down to see Terry.
Here's a red one.
And then a couple years later,
She was a little, really cute little girl.
oh, she was a cute baby.
And then, of course, surprise, surprise, there's another girl coming. So we had lots of girls.
What's Lori's middle name?
Karen, I think.
Huh?
Lori's middle name is Karen?
No, it's Ann, isn't it? Jill's middle name is Karen.
Oh, Jill Karen. Okay. Well, the first girl born in the family, the middle name is Marie. Judy Marie,
Cassie Marie,
Cassie Marie, Terry Marie,
Joelle Marie,
Joelle Marie, Brenda Marie, Ellie. Is that?
Ellie Marie.
Allie Marie.
Oh yes, Ellie Marie. But Christy's middle name is Marie, I think. Isn't it? Yeah, I'm sure it is.
Yeah, I think
Christina
Anyway,
Marie.
we have all these little girls, and then suddenly these granddaughters start having boys. Oh, we had another little girl, didn't we? Our first great grandson. Jordan was our first great grandson.
Not quite a namesake, but at least got to jump all over Grandpa Pete.
Yeah. But he looked like, I think he resembled him.
Mm-hmm.
I think Jordan looks like Grandpa
he?
Pete.
I'm probably going.
And then we have all those cute little boys coming.
Judson, Jackson, Ryan.
Yeah. What was your fondest memory as a child? Like, what do you think of when you think of
My childhood.
a happy part of your childhood? You know?
Well, I think it would have to be the family being together. You know, we were always together, regardless of, you know, we were together working. We were together when we did something for fun. You know.
Mm-hmm.
Did you guys laugh a lot?
Laugh a lot.
Like you and your brothers?
No, I don't think so. I can't remember that we did, although in the right circumstances, my dad would be a pretty happy person. My mother never seemed to be a real happy person. I think she was the happiest after my dad died and she came to Towner and got involved with the grandchildren.
Mm-hmm.
Then, so I think those were the happiest days of her life.
Mm-hmm.
But as far as my childhood, we did things together. You know, we played games together. We worked together, and we didn't consider it work. You know, I don't remember that
There's
having
Grandpa
to go
Pete.
out in the field and shog grain was that awful.
Hmm.
It was.
A little bit different hairstyles. I remember lots of laughter coming from everybody around your kitchen table. Karen and Byron and Evie and Mom and Dad and Grandma and Grandpa and Bob and Harlan occasionally in those earlier years. You guys would be laughing so loud. We'd have to come down and tell you to be quiet so we could go to bed. No. But I could just hear Karen and Evie's laughter. And yours, Mom?
Oh, yes, well, those two, they would get going, you know. And there was no stopping them for their, you know, they'd get started on something that happened at school or something that happened at where they lived in their apartment, you know.
Well, Karen, she's got a sense of humor.
Yeah.
We have about 5 minutes left. What would you? What else do you want to?
Well, we'll see you next year. We'll see you at Christmas. But for sure in '89.
Well,
Up to 100, I said at least.
Well, plenty of Bren in the background.
that's fine.
I showed this to you as a teenager. I was never that obnoxious. Oh yeah.
I'm pretty sure we have it on video where Ryan's beeping. And proud of it. I'm going to show that on his high school graduation.
What do you think are when you think of the changes from when you're a child to now? Like, do you see big changes in the world, and what's your opinion of how things have changed or stayed the same from your perspective?
Well, as far as our family is concerned, I don't think there's been too many changes. We do pretty much the same thing that my folks did. You know, sure, I mean, there were different, we have different things now that we had then, but that still doesn't change the fact that we had this relationship then that we still have, you know.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that's changed. I think it's pretty much the same
Mm-hmm.
as far as our family is concerned.
Mm-hmm.
There are things that have happened in our life that were tough. I can remember when one of my brothers was sick with sleeping sickness. My mother took care of him at home. You know, we got through a lot of things.
How old was he?
Oh, I would say maybe 18 or 19 maybe.
Encephalitis.
Yeah.
Wow, that's
And the
pretty serious.
sad part about that is that some friends of ours from Minot came out to visit. And that woman died of encephalitis the next week.
Wow.
And so
Really?
we assumed
got it.
that she got it from, when she was, and I don't imagine that had anything to do with it, but that was hard for us to take that, But he had so many things happen to him. He's the one that was in the service and had leukemia
Mm-hmm.
and died on the 4th of July in 1958.
Mm.
Those are some of the things that were
Mm-hmm.
hard to take,
Mhm.
That was the saddest
Of
funeral
leukemia?
Pardon?
He died of leukemia then?
Yeah, and it was the saddest funeral I have ever been to. He and his family
How
were
old was he? He must have been 30?
39. He and his family were living at Monterey, California, where he was in a language
Mom,
school,
do you think my mouth
studying
looks messy?
Japanese. He was going to be sent over to Japan. He was in the service. I mean, he'd made Army his life, career.
Do you think
And anyway, he got sick in the fall. Anyway, he went into the hospital at about Thanksgiving time into San Francisco, the Presidio Hospital there, and his wife and 2 children and my mother, who was out there, lived in Monterey. which was, I don't know how many miles away from San Diego. But anyway, she couldn't drive. So I went out there in February. This little gal from the farm went out and was the chauffeur. I drove her back and forth to the hospital. How did, in that crazy traffic.
Ryan, don't.
And then he died then the next 4th of July. So my brother Gaylord and Grandpa and I drove out for the funeral. And there was nobody there except the honor guard and the priest and one couple that lived out there that was a classmate of his. Those are the only people that were at that.
So was he buried in Monterey? Or
No, he's buried in the Presidio Cemetery in San Diego. And one time when Bob and Karen took a trip out there, they went to the cemetery and took a picture of the tombstone. So
Is his wife and children still live out there?
yeah, she's off, but she isn't doing very well. She's losing her sight, and she remarried. She married a real nice man, and so they brought up the 2 boys, and the 2 boys are married now and have their own families
In California.
out in California. And I hear from her most of the time at Christmas time, but I didn't last year, so I don't know.
Well, and Gordon just died a couple of years ago, didn't he?
No, he's been gone. Oh,
Before Grandpa? Or after?
no, after. Yeah, he's been gone after because when this friend of mine that I had gone with for 6 years, Oscar,
Yeah.
when he came to North Dakota to see me after he found out that Grandpa had died, he wanted me to move back out with him. Anyway, he did come to North Dakota to visit, and I took him to see Gordon because they were real good friends, and they had made a trip, some trip they had made together. I can't remember where they went, but anyway. So I thought that it would be fun to take Oscar to see him, But